Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well. And shalom to you, sincere, hopeful, elect brothers and sisters, listen and learner. To you, brothers preaching and teaching this truth through the four corners of the earth. All right, this is the brother Nathan, come out of the GMS Indianapolis camp. Just doing a little walk and talk. Just pushing my daughter right now, just taking a little walk. It's decent weather, you know. But let's see here. We go right here. How you doing? Yep. So, all right, we're gonna start off with. Yep, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 36. It says, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only." So Yahweh Shem Shai has given us the signs, right? All right, by what? His prophecies. All right, that's how we know where we're at and how we know we're at the end of the end, because we know that Yahweh Shai dying on the cross was the beginning of the end. And now we're entering into the end of the end, where World War III is in motion, and before that totally, goes 100%. The MOT to the B gotta be pushed. Revelation 13 and 16. All right. So those are key events that we know that we're at the end. So you gotta understand this. So I'm gonna read that again. It says, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only." All right. So let's get. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself." And what's the measuring stick again? The tool? It's the prophecies. All right. That's how we know what time, where we're at as far as the end times go. It says, "And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before," right? Isaiah 46 and 10 talks about what he declared the end from the beginning. All right. So what happened? Everything was created that was going to happen. The script was written before, guess what? The earth was even created. All right. And that's why it says, Proverbs 20 and 24, "Man's goings are of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way?" And talks about the predestination too in the New Testament. Being predestined. All right. So this is all according to the will of Yahweh Shem El Shai. What we do, whether it be good or it be evil. All right. So just like his prophecies, they're gonna come to pass when like Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter talks about for that appointed time. So it's on the Lord's time. Let's see. I'm gonna go back. This said, verse 3, "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world," and that's what we're seeing, right? All right, we're seeing the uproars of the people, man. People rioting over gas prices, policies that been being pushed. All right, so you're seeing protests every day, and it's starting to gain more traction, especially now that Donald Trump's back in office. They got a lot of people that are against him. A lot of people for him, but a lot of people against him as well. So, that's how the Lord's got things moving. So that's the thing. And then what? Earthquakes in diverse places, right? Hey, you're seeing that. Major earthquakes every single day. If you got an earthquake app, that thing goes off constantly. And it'd be all kinds of places. So, that's prophecy being fulfilled. And then remember, Yahweh Shai said this would be in the end times. See? Just like in verse 2 here, it says, "Then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." By what? His prophecies. What he was already foretold us. So that's how we know where we're at as far as that goes. We just don't have the specific date Because these fucking weak ass Christians, that's why we don't deal with them. We ain't dealing with them no more like that. That's why they'll say, "Oh, you're a prophet, right? You should be able to tell us when the day's gonna happen." No, I said, "No, man, no. Not even Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. All right, it's Yahweh Shai. All right, there was no letter J until 1524. All right, an elongated I. All right, so that's not his name. Yahweh Shai was a Hebrew. All right, spoke Hebrew name. All right, let's see here. All right, and back to Matthew 24, verse 36 again says, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noe, which is Noah, were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." So it's going to be equivalent to the Noah times Noah was prophesying. All right, here it is. He prophesied for over 100 years. And just like now, the people didn't believe. All right. And then the Lord had to what? Leave a remnant, an elect, which was Noah and his family. His three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Right? And their wives. So Noah had his wife and his three sons and their wives. All right? They're the elect. All right? Chosen from the beginning. All right? That's why these things are accomplished the way they're accomplished, is what Noah put together, with building that ark, man. That was a mighty feat. And here it is, he had to deal with his own people talking shit like it wasn't going to be true. And here it is, fast forward all the way to 2025, going through the same thing. Preaching the word to our people, crying loud, sparing not, lifting up our voice like a trumpet, right? Isaiah 58:1. Showing our people their transgressions, right? The house of Jacob their sins. We're telling them what they do to gain salvation. How to repent. How to return back to Yahweh Shem Shai. And rehearse the righteous acts, man. And ultimately doing those things, those righteous acts, because of your faith, meaning you truly believe. Because you can't do this, you can't please Yahweh Shem Shai without the faith, which is a gift from Yahweh Shem Shai. Look at that. So that means what? Only his elect is going to get it. It doesn't matter if you break it down to a 1-year-old can understand. If he can't get it, the Lord don't want him to. All right, Romans 11:7. All right? The election obtained it, what? The rest were blinded. Verse 38, Matthew 24:38. "For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah, right, entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." And who's the Son of Man? Yahweh Shai. It's going to be in like manner. It's going to be the second death. Our first death was by water. This one's going to be by fire, right? Thermonuclear destruction. Concentrated later being from the chariots, man. Yahweh Shem Shai is going to open up his whole armory against Babylon the Great. All right, the chief place of Esau, Edom right now. Okay? The whore that rideth upon the beast. The one that's in the power, on top of NATO and the EU. All right? That's prophecy. This is happening. This is the words of Yahweh Shem Shai. And if you don't get it, hey, too bad for you. Because it said what? The election have obtained and the rest were blinded. So that's what's about the elect. All right? And it says, so yeah, and here it is. Especially you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, those of the 12 tribes of Israel, here it is, y'all still partying and bullshitting. All right? You still out here just to try to get married to a woman, and not in the way of sex being marriage, but you just trying to do the whole wedding and get down on one knee and do the pictures and the honeymoon and all that. And, you know, we ain't the time for that. You know? So that's why I said Yahweh Shai is going to come like a thief in the night. Because 2/3 of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans of our people, and the speckled birds that look like the other nations, but go back to the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Being an Israelite from the seed of your father, because the father is what determines. You got to understand that shit. They're not going to get it. Majority of people are not going to get it. They don't want the kingdom. All right? They love oppression. That's why I said, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. These people ain't wise, nor do they want to be. That's why when you ask them questions, they don't know nothing about World War III. They don't know nothing about Russia and Ukraine. But you talk about some bullshit, like some Real Housewives of Atlanta, whatever, Bad Girls Club, whatever, all that shit, all that quote unquote non-reality TV, because that's what it is. It's scripted with improviser. All right. Now they'll soak that up. They'll know everything, all about the cast members, down to they realize. That's why Hosea 4:6 says, "What for my people destroyed by a lack of knowledge." All right, and that's what it is. They're totally destroyed because they're focused on the wrong thing. They think this is it for them. Esau has cast his great delusion, which Esau is a so-called white man. He put this delusion and spell on the people, you know, that one, he's God, you know, made himself an image of Yahweh Shai his way, which he's a dark-skinned black man, so-called black man, from the tribe of Judah, with a white woolly afro, right? Revelation, the 1st chapter. All right, 13 on down. So, but see, Jake like I said, you bring the proof and Jake don't want to hear it. All right, but like I said, that strong delusion, you know, the Esau spells on our people heavy. They're still with that plantation Christianity, man. They're still a slave. Yeah. Oh, you got rights until you just like an insurance agent, insurance company, right? You got the insurance until when it's time to use it. Then all of a sudden you don't qualify for this and that. So then you figure out what the hell am I paying for? You know? That's these people, man. Non-believers. In 2025, man, worse and worse, man. Like the scriptures say, the world shall grow weaker through age. 2 Letters, the 14th chapter. You know? So yeah, these people are stuck on stupid, man. They're dead asleep. The real walking dead. You know? So back to Matthew 24, verse 40, it says, "Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left." That's right. Not everybody's gonna make it. It's only about the elect of the nation of Israel. All right. He's not coming to save everybody. Not even everybody of his own people, the children of Israel, who Yahweh Shai died for. All right. Acts 5:30 on down. All right. We're not just making this up. This is what Yahweh Bashim Shai has put in his word, in the Bible that we read out of. All right. So with that, I pray this was edifying to the elect. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Kwam Yasharallah, Shalom.